It is an honor today to have Mr. Barden Culbreth. He is the Executive Director of the North Carolina Addiction Specialist Professional Practice Board with us today. He is going to give us a presentation regarding the CADC, becoming a Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselor, and how to start that process, how to go through that process and get ready to test. Before I say a few more things about Barden, I'd like to share a little bit about the background and the process as to how we got here. One of my graduates, so both of our two-year degrees here, Human Services Technology and Addiction and Recovery, he sat and took the CADC test and passed late last year. He came to me and he told me, he said, it was very challenging. And that really got my attention. And I was thinking, if he struggled with this exam, how might my future students struggle with this exam? And I started researching with the North Carolina Community College website to see if there was a prep course to prepare students to take and pass the CADC exam. And I could not find one. And I had a wonderful phone conversation with Barden. It was right before Christmas. He wasn't aware of a course that would help prepare students to take this test either. So I decided I need to try to do this. I thought it would be like 300-400 hours of prep time. I've quickly learned it's probably going to be about 500 to 1,000 hours to do this right. So what we're doing is, what I'm doing along with the support of Barden and a lot of other folks here at the college, preparing this prep course that hopefully will deploy in January of 2024. I'd like to thank Barden for his support, his time, his guidance, and his willingness to be here. He is doing this out of the goodness of his heart. Mr. Barden Culbreth has worked with the North Carolina Addiction Specialist Professional Practice Board for over 16 years, I believe, and he is the current executive director. And I have worked with him on the phone at least for many, many years, and I appreciate him being here. With no further ado, I'd like to give you Mr. Barden Culbreth.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. That was a great introduction, probably twice of what I deserve. But it's really good to be here at Randolph Community College, representing the North Carolina Addiction Specialist Professional Practice Board. I spent the last couple of years at the board office really reaching out and getting in touch with the community college programs that are either offering the certificate program or the two-year associate's program. But we really want to get in front and dispel the myths, debunk the myths, demystify what the board is and what the board does, and to answer the questions, kind of before you have them. So let me jump right in. All right, so the board, what is the board? Is the North Carolina Addictions Professional Practice Board. Could have come up with a shorter name, right? The board is an occupational licensing board. Just like you go to you go to the school, you get a certificate in cosmetology, you go to the cosmetology board. You go to medical school, you go to the medical board. You go to law school, you go to the law school, and so on. This is the state board that allows you to practice addictions to the public, addictions treatment to the public. A similar analogy is it's kind of like going to driving school, and we're the DMV. So if someone can teach you how to drive, and you can know all the rules of the road, but unless you've got that license, you shouldn't be practicing. You shouldn't be on the road. So, what I want to jump into the requirements, but I want to jump into the main purpose of the board first, which is to protect the public. That is the purpose of the board. It's not to, obviously not to help me spell things correctly, protect the public. It's not to advocate for the profession. It's not to build counselors in a certain underserved region. It's not to advocate for specific laws where we can't do that as a board. That doesn't mean in our side time we don't advocate and lobby for policy. But the main purpose is to protect the public, and that's the clients that you serve, the patients that you serve. We're making sure you know what you're doing. We're making sure that you know that you're practicing ethically and you're competent. Those are two big things. They're the big things that the board does and ensures. There are 3 basic requirements to become certified. And when I say to become certified, I mean a CADC, Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselor. I call these the 3 E's. You're going to see why. Experience, education, and everybody's favorite, exam. These are the 3 E's. Now you're going to have to do a background check, you're going to have to do a resume, job, but those are you're going to have to get references. These are the biggies though. Experience, education, exam. What you're doing now at Randolph Community College is knocking out this requirement right here. You're not required to attend a program like you're doing here, but oh man, does it boost your resume to the top. It is going to, you are participating in a formal education program. Many folks may not have that luxury. They may have to attend workshops, they may have to travel all over Kingdom Come and lose their weekends and do these weekend-long trainings, or they may spend all night doing online trainings. But you're here getting formal instruction, and you're going to receive a certificate when you complete that, and that is going to count towards your Education E for the CADC. Let me jump to number 1, jump back to number 1, experience. All told, this divides up into 2 sections. You're going to have an intensive 300-hour practicum, but it's really, don't let the P word scare you. It's just work experience, again, going back to the E, with intensive supervision. And then, so this is kind of part 1 here, you can see that. Part 2, you're going to have to complete a bigger number here, 6,000 hours work experience. And I'm just going to call this standard supervision. Okay. Based on a 40-hour work week, standard full-time work week, this is going to take you about 2 months. This is going to take you about 3 years. So let me just kind of come here. This is 2 months. 2 months FT, full-time. This is 3 years. Count holidays, sick days, etc. Full-time. And under standard supervision. So these are the 3 ingredients to becoming, I'll cover the exam in a minute, to becoming certified. Now, if I tell you you have to be certified to legally work, but you need to work to become certified, well, that's becoming sort of a chicken and the egg sort of thing. So how do we get out of this box? How do we work and get our experience towards becoming certified? The answer to that is your application moves in stages. Capital R, registration. This is a status that the board has, and it acts like a learner's permit. Kind of go back to talking about the DMV and learning to drive. This is your learner's permit. You're going to become registered with the board. Registration allows you to legally work, the same way a learner's permit allows you to legally drive. You will work on your experience hours while you're registered. This will be your first part, is the 300 hours. This is your first 2 months of work. Then you'll do your 6,000 hours. I mean, hour 301 is hour 1 of this. So you're just going to seamlessly transition into this. After you complete your 300-hour work experience, you're eligible to take the exam. And I'll talk more about the exam in a minute. Let's talk about the other big question that surrounds Experience E. How do you get experience? Well, it's simple. You get a job. Go to Google. Go to Google. Make a list of drug and alcohol treatment facilities in your area. Tell them that you are completing the program at Randolph Community College. You're getting your education hours. You're about to graduate next week, and you're ready to dive in, or you're going to graduate next semester. You want to see if there are any opportunities at your agency. This is the step that you complete as part of registration. And this is kind of tough for people to grasp, because they want to get all their ducks in a row and get certified, and they see the job postings, and the job postings say, well, you need a certification. Don't let that deter you. Still contact these agencies. Contact these agencies, reach out, get to know folks. Don't only contact agencies that only have jobs openings. Just make a list. And this is where you're going to find, when you nail the job, you're going to find the supervisor. So let me jump into the supervisor. I'm going to erase some of this, if it won't roll away from me here. I want to talk about registration and what it involves to get that learner's permit. And don't worry, I'm going to come back to the exam. You'll notice I'm not spending a lot of time on education, because that's being covered here at Randolph Community College. Bear with me while I get us a clean slate here. Okay, let's talk about registration. Registration has a set of ingredients. So when you start your application with the board, we have an online application portal, and I'll show you that on the website, how to access that. And you're going to pay an application fee, $25 application fee, and it's going to unlock, and you're going to see all these slots that are, they're boxes technically that you have to check. You have to fulfill those sections. One of the first, and so these are your ingredients. One of the first is you're going to have to upload a current resume. Make sure you got your resume in line. Hopefully, if you're doing your job search, this is not going to be tough. You're going to upload or enter a job description. Okay, so a lot of people get really, this gets people disconcerted. Just know that this is not being evaluated. This is a check the box requirement, okay? So you're just going to, as long as you don't put making pizzas or changing tires, you're not going to be evaluated on this. Just like you're not going to be evaluated on your resume, okay? Which we've got to check those boxes, right? The other is attestation ethics agreement. This is basically saying I agree to behave ethically and to follow the ethical principles of the board. And those are available in the application and they're available for download on the website. You can review those at any time and you'll probably have, those will be covered in your class. Let's go to the next one is a supervision agreement. A couple of agreements here. You're going to have to find a supervisor. And folks just really have so much trouble finding the supervisor. And I say, don't look for a supervisor. Look for the job. Where you find the job, you'll find the supervisor. You're not going to go fishing if you don't find the water. So you've got to find the job, and then you will find the supervisor. So again, it goes back to do your job search. And your supervisors are going to know, you're not going to be the first person that's ever come to them. So don't be nervous or ashamed or don't get cold feet. They've helped hundreds and hundreds of people just like you. Okay. The other is we're going to need documentation of highest education. Documentation of your highest level of education. So that can be completion of the certificate program. That can be completion of high school or equivalency, another associate's degree, bachelor's degree. We just need your highest. Sometimes we get people that spin their wheels and send us. They've been on campuses all over. Just send us your highest. This is a check the box requirement. Next, we have a background check, and I'm going to talk about background check as well in a little bit. Background check. We have an SBI check. You're going to download some forms, and you're going to take those forms. These forms are in the application, your online application, and you're going to contact your local law enforcement office and tell them you need to do a live scan of your fingerprints. So they'll say, oh, come on down. Tuesday at 5 o'clock, a deputy will scan your fingerprints. They'll scan your fingerprints. They're going to hand you back the forms. You're going to upload a release. So if you've been participating and paying attention, you know all about people signing releases and authorizations, like patients. Well, you've got to sign a release too. This is a release to let the board look at your background check results. So you're going to upload that. That's going to be one of the forms you have. Upload that back into your application. And in about 15 business days, the SBI is going to send us the results of your background check. What am I forgetting here? Let me jump over here. Let's see. You're going to have 3 hours of ethics training. Now this is different from the ethics agreement that you did earlier, okay? This is different from the ethics agreement. This is just saying I'm going to follow the ethics agreement. This is presentation of 3, let me specify here, clock hours of ethics training. I guarantee you that you have covered ethics in your certificate program. So just list one of your classes. You'll translate that. I assume it's a 3-credit course. That translates to college credit. 1 college credit equals 15 clock hours. All right, it's kind of sloppy there, but so that 3-credit course you did, 45 hours to your education. And you just add that in there. into your application, and that will satisfy that requirement. Now, let me jump to the last one. This is everybody's favorite. Fees. You're going to have to pay a fee, several fees. This is your registration fee. This is the other. So there's a registration fee, and there's going to be a background check fee. Okay, so you paid $25 application fee to unlock all this. Okay. This is a $38 fee, okay, for your background check. And I'm going to forewarn you, there's a good chance that your local law enforcement office is probably going to charge you $10 or $12 for deputy time. That's not a fee to the board, that's a fee to your local law enforcement office, and that can vary, so I don't want to tell you specifically what they'll charge you. You may say, hey, free of charge. I don't know. Okay. Other one, you might have to, if you get your transcript, yeah, there's a good chance you're going to pay for that too, $10, $20 to your educational institution to release that. For the bachelor's and below, you can use an unofficial transcript, so if you've got an unofficial one, you can scan and upload it. And then that's only for bachelor's level and below. But here's the golly whopper. There is a $200 registration fee, okay? Remember that registration is your learner's permit. This is your license to work and earn your hours, earn income, but your registration fee is $200. And registration lasts for 5 years, so once you get all these ingredients together, and submit your application. I know it's kind of sloppy, but these are outlined on the website, don't worry. You're registered, and you're registered for 5 years, and you have 5 years to complete the CADC. That's the biggie to get your learner's permit. This is really how you get started. I'll tell you what traps people. They assume that this $200 is the exam fee. What's another big one? They don't do the background check. Don't know why. Are they concerned about it? I don't know. But if you're, just like making a cake, if you're missing any of these ingredients, you don't have a cake. So if you're missing any of these ingredients, you aren't registered. And if you are practicing, if you are working illegally, and potentially a misdemeanor. Of course, we want to bring you back into the make sure you comply with the statute. We're not going to suddenly run you into court, but you need to be concerned that you're skirting the law until you become registered. This whole process is probably going to take 3 weeks to 4 weeks. So it's probably going to take you about a month. You're going to be hired, let's just say day 1 of that month. And this is always a question. Am I able to work? You're telling me that I'm not going to be registered till the end of this month, but I just got hired, so am I working illegally? That's a great question. It's a great question we get. The board understands that it takes time to become registered. It takes time to get this background check in. I mean, that's going to take some time. The SBI is handling everything that they have to run background checks for. So I guess all I'll say is you need to maintain your supervision. Make sure you're working with your supervisor. Make sure they're aware what ingredients you are lacking and what you're waiting on. But there is some understanding that it's going to take some time. But don't be one of those applicants for registration that shows up 8 months, 10 months later. Gosh, I've seen some people that in a year or 2 later, and we've had to really say, hey, you got to tighten up. It's time to get registered and comply. You've been operating outside the law. And again, it's all about protecting the public. It's not It's truly not so we can get you $200 or, or we can just put a bunch of paperwork in front of you and make you jump through extra hoops. This is about protecting the public. And we need to make sure that you're competent, and that involves, doing your education, go back to our E's, making sure you're competent through education and the exam, and experience, making sure that you're behaving yourself, your conduct, you're acting ethically, and that's through experience and through supervision. I want to talk a little bit, I know I wanted to talk, I promise I'm going to get to the exam. I want to talk a little bit about the background check, because we do get questions about that. So frequently folks say, look, I've got lived experience. It's what drew me to this profession. I have some things on my record. Is that going to affect my ability to get certified? Am I going through, am I going through all this education, this experience, and is it going to be for naught? And you're going to tell me no when I get there. The first answer I'm going to say to that is, except for violent felonies and sexual-based felonies, the board cannot, by state law, deny an applicant solely on criminal background. Okay, so what does that mean? Wrote solely. What does that mean? You cannot. So that just means that the board, we cannot get the background check result and look at it and go, nope, and throw it out. You are allowed due process, okay? You are, I would say a good portion of our licensees and certificates, I'd say, I'm making up a number, but I would say 40% have items on their criminal record. These include misdemeanors, these include felonies. I get emails all the time, folks say, I have a felony, will I be able to practice? And I have to say, well, there's a lot of factors. I have to tell them this, the board cannot deny an applicant solely on criminal background. We'll add an exception, except violent and sexual crimes. But even here, our board, just based on the unique nature of our board and the prevalence of lived experience, and we still treat these applicants the same as we would the other applicants. So we have a review committee, a committee called the Quality Assurance Committee. They review both the results of the background check. They contact the applicant and say, hey, we need additional information. This includes references, testimonies, proof of rehabilitation, all these things that boost your case that you would be a great counselor. The Quality Assurance Committee also conducts interviews. So not only are we just, we're going to hear you out. Maybe you don't convey yourself the best on paper. Maybe you know that seeing in person and once they hear you and meet, you will pass that threshold. So all of this is to say, don't give up hope. If you have a criminal history, the board's going to hear you out. The board is not going to slam the door on in your face. Now, is that a promise you're going to be approved? No, but we're going to hear you out, and we're not going to just turn you away. There's another thing I was going to say about this that now escapes me. You're welcome to bring an attorney to represent you. You're welcome to bring family members. But yeah, a lot of folks have possession and distribute, maintaining dwelling. We've seen we've seen first and second degree murder too. So we see all those things. Another question that we get a lot that I want to cover, especially as an applicant, you're going to have, and we get variations of it. Do I have to be in recovery or living a recovery lifestyle? And a variation of that is, how long do I have to be in recovery before I can apply? Well, interestingly, this term is not defined in any of our rules and statute. So you are not required to be living any sort of abstinence-based lifestyle from substance use. But what is defined in our statute, let me make sure I've got a good marker here. That's a good one. Is impairment. And this is defined in the rules and statute. So what our rules and statute say is that a counselor, you, as soon as you attest to that ethics, that you will recognize the negative effects of impairment in your ability to treat clients and patients. This can be substance-induced impairment. This can be age and cognitive-based impairment. This can be, this even includes physical and medical impairments. I mean, if you are so physically impaired that you cannot make it to the treatment center to come to work and treat your clients, you are impaired through one mechanism or another, through your body's natural effects or through outside intake of other substances. You are impaired. So this is what's defined in statute and rule. It says that you will recognize the negative effects of impairment and you will refrain, you will remove yourself, you will recognize it and you will remove yourself from treating patients and clients. But that's real wishy-washy, right? So let me give you an answer to this question. No, you don't have to be in recovery. But if you're new to recovery, you've gone through treatment, you want to give back to those who have given you so much and helped you so much, and you say, well, this is what I want to do. This is my new path forward. We do recommend about a year. It's not a statutory requirement. There's nowhere in rule. There's no way the board can make you do that. But we do get a lot of calls from folks that are coming up 90 days and they say, this is what I want to do. I was doing something else professionally. This is what I want to do. And we feel our experience has been that's a little too soon. So we do recommend, a friendly recommendation is a year. Okay. I want to pull up our website, and as promised, we're going to talk a little bit about the exam. And everybody wants to know about the exam. So I'm going to push this screen over. Am I still on camera? Okay. All right, so we've got this, I'm going to pull up the website. We've got a lot of great resources on the website. I've kind of blown it up here. This is the landing page when you come to our website. I talked about our online application. Our online application system is called Learning Builder. So click here to start your application. This is how you land there. And it really walks you through, you set up an account. When you register your account, please remember that is lowercase r registered. That's not the learner's permit we were talking about earlier. That just means you set up an account. So you're going to get an email saying, congratulations, you've registered your account. That's lowercase r, registered. This is, right under there, Registered, registered, registered. We've got a great PDF slideshow. This was built out of a PowerPoint presentation. It covers many of the things that I have discussed here with you. Registration, the learner's permit, registration limited to 5 years. So a lot of this information, if you haven't been taking notes, I just hit the back button right here. Click here for questions about getting started. Another section of the website I want to point you to is credentialing. A lot of folks don't go there. Credentialing is just a catch-all word which covers certification, licensure, registering. You are getting your credentials. You know, they say, show me your credentials. Please click the credentials link. Explore here. Many of you, I'm going to come over here and click the CADC link here in just a second, but there's stuff about the exam here. So if you've got questions about the exam, you'll find them there. Again, more stuff on registration. We've got a great link here. See this heading, entering trainings into your application. Click that link, it's not blue. I'll have to talk to my team about getting that blue. But this is another great, this is a 25-page step-by-step guide on how to add trainings. You won't have to add too many because you're doing the certificate program here. But this tells you step by step how, and we've even got handy arrows. They'll show you how to add these trainings, okay? So, again, under credentialing, you click that up here, takes you to this page, okay? Now, let's look at the CADC, Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselor. Opening paragraph here kind of tells you your scope of practice. They're going to cover that. They're going to cover that with you in your classes. What I really want to pull up is this down here. Click here for more information. This is our brochure that's going to walk you through, look, number one, registration, just like we talked about. This is the first step in the credentialing process. So these resources are on our website, so please, please, please go there. This would have come in handy when I was writing on the board. Here's the recipe for registration. All the different things. Of course, it doesn't have the stuff written out, but quite that way. But here's your recipe. This is all going to be, and this is in your application and learning builder. Stuff about you'll become a CADC registered, and once you pass the exam, you'll become a CADC intern. Okay, that's the second step. So we've talked a lot about the first step in register. Second step is CADC intern. The third and final step, I really wish we had 4 steps, so it'd be like, you know, coming around the home. But third step, full certification. Again, here's our 3 E's: experience, education, and exam. There they are, right there on the webpage. Okay, let me take you to another webpage as I kind of draw to a close here. As promised, now we're going to talk about everybody's favorite part, exam. The board, when I say the board, the Addictions Practice Board, is a member of the International Certification and Reciprocity Consortium. Sticking with these complicated names. This is the ICNRC. This is an international agreement of states and countries that have agreed to use the same exam, the same standards. So they're all having to do the 6,000 hours. They're all having to do the same level of training, and they're all taking the same test. You'll see we've got China, Japan, South Korea. So yeah, there's kind of a military component here too. All branches of the U.S. military are members of ICNRC. Germany, again, kind of looking at this from a military kind of standpoint, popular deployment areas. And we've got almost all the states and territories except North Dakota and Alaska. And some of the territories of Puerto Rico. There. Okay. I will tell you a little bit about, so what is reciprocity? Reciprocity means that you can, let's say you move to that jurisdiction, another state, let's say you're moving to Spain here, okay? And you can contact the North Carolina board, you can contact us and tell us, hey, I'm moving to Spain for 5 years, and I want to practice substance use counseling. We will send you an application for reciprocity. You'll fill it out, you'll send it back to us, we have your file. So you start with your home board. We're going to send it to ICNRC, and they're going to send it to Spain. So ICNRC kind of acts like the jumper cables, and we're going to jumpstart your credential in Spain through reciprocity. So you will have, you're not going to lose this here as long as you keep your credential with us. You can always renew, but you're going to be licensed or certified in Spain, or even South Carolina, Georgia, whatever. One thing I do want to hit on, in North Carolina, our board is part of ICNRC. Some of these states, the ICNRC board is a voluntary board, and so you may have some other hoops in other states, other countries that you have to go to, but you would be able to get your toe in the door with due reciprocity. Okay. At long last, let me talk about exams. This is the exam. You're going to see this link up here on their website, exams, examination. If I hover over here, I get 2 drop downs, and they all kind of go to the same place. But I get a link that links me to study materials. For the certified alcohol and drug counselor, you're going to be taking the alcohol and drug counselor exam. Okay? This section has some paid-for guides. We've also got, I say we, ICNRC also has some candidate guides, and these candidate guides are free. Okay? So you can come here and you can click these candidate guides. Let's see, how long is it? This is a 25-page document. And I'm going to zip through it real quick. But what it's got in here is it's going to tell you what's on the exam and what percentages are on the exam. It's going to have some sample questions. See where I can find the sample question. It's also got a handy reference list, and I guarantee you some of these books have been used in your courses. Where are my questions? Here we go. Yeah. Here's some sample questions. What page is that on? 18. So here's some sample questions that are very much going to be like what's on the test. You'll see here there are going to be some charrettes that or scenarios that you're going to have to read through. That kind of stuff's going to be on the test. And don't worry, the answers are at the end of the study guide, or the candidate guide. So that essentially covers what I wanted to cover with you. Remember, experience, education, exam, the 3 E's. That's what's going to take you from this course of study, the certificate program, to being a certified alcohol and drug counselor, completing those 3 E's. 6,000 hours of experience, 270 education hours, and then passage of the certified alcohol and drug counselor exam. So, best of luck to you. I know you got it. If you've got any questions, just refer back to our website, not the ICRC website. That's handy for the exam. But feel free. Our contact information is on our website, the practice board website. We'll be happy to help you. So good luck and best to you.